Hey guys, this is Ryan, the Geeky Veep. We're going to start a pivot table video series here. So in this first video, we're just going to look at the very basics of creating your very first pivot table. So let's go ahead and get started. As you can see here, I have a data set and I have the name of a financial institution, its state, its year, and the year-ending assets. And I have this for every single, it's actually credit unions, but it's for every single credit union in the nation from 1998 to 2016. So this is well over 100,000 rows of information. So we're going to see what a pivot table can do. Real quickly, it can summarize all this data really in a matter of a few seconds. And it's very flexible. That's why they call it a pivot table. And let me put one together here real quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So the basic steps of any pivot table are to go to your data. Okay, so you want to go to your Insert tab, click on Pivot Table. All right, that completes step one. Now you're in the Create Pivot Table phase. This Create Pivot Table window has three basic questions you need to answer. The first one is, where's the data at that you want to analyze? Now the first option is to select the table range within your worksheet. And sometimes Excel is smart, usually Excel is smart enough to realize where the data is, which can manually select it if you want. You also have the option to connect to an external data source, which is a very cool thing if you want to connect to another worksheet, an access table, even SQL database, things like that. So that's the first question, where the data is. The second one is, where do you want to place the pivot table once you get it all put together? Usually defaults to a new worksheet, but you do have the ability to put it into an existing worksheet. For example, you could put this right next to your data table. You could also put this on a worksheet that already has other pivot tables, existing pivot tables. So if you want to create some kind of a dashboard with multiple pivot tables, that's the direction you probably want to go. And this final thing here is something that we will keep unchecked for now, but especially when you start working in Power Pivot, you have the ability to analyze multiple tables. So a simple pivot table has just one table, but again, you have the ability to analyze multiple tables, and then you would add that to the data model. So typically we'll keep that unchecked. And guess what? When this popped up, everything was exactly as I wanted it, so I can go ahead and hit OK. I'm going to fix this so you guys can see it a little bit better here. So what happens is, over here to the left, this is where your pivot table is going to land. All the information will land here, but it's not done yet. As you can see, it tells you have to choose fields from the pivot table field list. And that's when we go over to the right side, will be where you have your fields. So I have 4 possible fields to choose from. And just below it is the layout. This is what your report is going to look like. So for example, let's pull year down to filters. And if you come over here to the left, automatically you see our pivot table is beginning to come together. We'll pull assets, because that's a dollar value, into values, and then maybe state into rows. Okay, so that's our first pivot table, fairly easy. There's a lot of things you can do. You can filter. Let's say we filter to a year. Maybe even filter to a few different states. How about states that start with the letter C? And so forth. So there's a lot of things you do. That's how you start your very first pivot table. Hopefully you found this of value. If you like it, please subscribe and be sure to watch the additional videos on pivot tables. Thank you.